This is your daily market recap for Monday, July 31st, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market review for Monday, July 31st, 2023. The year is moving quick. It's literally August. So let's get into it. Mondays in the summer, as we've talked about, can be sloppy, choppy, boring. Yeah, just those days. It's like Tuesday through Thursday. A little more important. Fridays can be a little scary, profit taking. But at this point, going into the last day of the month, here comes good old August. August, to me, September, even October can be extremely volatile, scary months. Going into the last really most important earnings, I would say Amazon and Apple later this week, and then a jobs number, which again I think is going to show slowing job growth. But as we've seen this month with oil and gasoline, certain commodities have risen 18, 20, 25%. And then you had the yellow trucking company, third largest trucker, go out of business. And as knowing for a fact that I have friends in North Carolina who work for trucking companies, they have jacked their rates up. So the CPI, PPI, inflationary data is going to reaccelerate near term. It's not going to be good for the Feds. They're going to have to continue to raise rates. How much higher or lower to bonds and dollar? Again, we'll talk about it. But again, I think they're going to have to jack the rates up, or the perception that they are. We'll see. Again, did they raise them fast enough to catch up? We'll see. I mean, people don't realize, like, China and Japan are freaking out. They're trying to manipulate their markets and manage them a ton because things aren't as good as people like to impress upon. So we'll get into that anyway. If you're new to the channel, please check out the Discord room. Links in the description below. If you're following on X, Twitter, whatever, again, yeah, posting things that we think are important, charts that are important. Please follow, like, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, whatever. Do live chats once or twice a week. And the tradingagent.com as well, Back to Basics series. It's all on YouTube too, but it's on the website. More advanced stuff is at the bottom video. Top beginning of the videos are at the top. Check out as well. I promise you it's so worth it. The Marcus account. Get your funds under $250,000. Promise me you're going to do that. I don't care if you use Marcus or not, or the code or whatever. But I'm telling you, there is going to be banking issues at some point. Please, for the love of God, do not be naive and go, oh, I don't need the FDIC insurance. It might not even matter at that point. At least you're getting 5.15% for 3 months. Telling you shit is going to hit the fan at some point. It always does. They manufacture crises every time. Next Fed meeting. Pause. Bitcoin. As we talked about, same thing with gold, silver, a lot of the metals, some of the commodities, don't trust them. Best time to buy will be when the Feds do what? El Pivito. Him and hers top, but as long as it holds 28,000, I think Bitcoin could chop. It could go higher. Oil, as we talked about, had a great month, right? Look at this, 67 up to almost 80. Great month. Sorry, Feds. Nat gas stuck in neutral. I mean, maybe neutral. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. Dollar, as we've said, dollar go holla higher in time, I think. Unless economic data falls off a cliff, the dollar will continue to rise because everyone else has fallen off a cliff, in my opinion. Keep an eye what's going on in Europe. I'm telling you, it's not good. China, they're not cutting and trying to stimulate because everything's great. In Japan now, trying to get involved in the bond buying. Yeah, because everything's great. No. Watch the dollar. Remember, the volatility in the dollar and the bonds is what, to me, is the most important. We've talked about you could buy bonds down here at 98, 99, whatever, yield 4% on the 10-year, I think is big volume down here. Now, again, set your stops, define your risk. But if the market flows come out of what? Stocks, they're going to come into bonds. That's my opinion. Could be wrong, but that's the logic of it. The VIX, holding, as we've said in multiple videos. Not multiple, I guess, recently. Watch this candle. Get above it. Bullish for the VIX. Cannot. Bearish VIX. Maybe the market chops, goes a little higher. VIX, again, holding the mid-80s. Not surprised. S&P 500 holding up at the highs. Doji, remember, new money, new month. First and last 3 business days of the month. I'm still thinking this Fed day high. I mean, it's probably likely going to retest. If it doesn't, interesting if today is the top. Again, a lot of people, everybody's bullish. Be careful. Qs are starting to lag, right? Well, people are like, oh, you got Apple and Amazon earnings. Okay, well, watch. I mean, we tried to fill the gaps, and we're just chopping around. IWM was one I was watching today that was stronger, and it made new highs off the, from the most recent, but it's still not making new highs. Again, watch the 199, 200 level. DIA holding up. Looks pretty solid in the sense of it doesn't look like it's rolling over yet, but you are coming into some interesting areas and filling some gaps. Keep that in mind. You have some big Dow names coming too, earnings-wise. Caterpillar before the open. We'll see what happens. That could lift the Dow up. Good old gold, as we've said, leave it alone. Leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. The best time to buy stuff will be when the Fed pivots. We talked about second quarter crap, July, seasonality bullish, said watch this level. Now I would just leave it alone. Silver, same kind of thing. I mean, again, long term, if you got physical, let's get physical. You know what I mean? If you got physical stuff, great. But trading the paper stuff, I don't really trust it. Miners did get a decent pop today, but then started giving it back in the afternoon, which, again, the miners should be leading up. You notice gold and silver up near the top of the ranges. Miners, not so much. So, not so much, right? That's not good. GDXJ, the miners that should be leading, again, same thing. Like hits the 100-day, boink, backs off. Just curious to look at the 10-minute. Okay, decent volume at the close. We'll see if that sticks. Just be careful out there if you're in miners land. You feel like you have to trade this stuff? Yeah, here you go. Man, AG, pop, flop, AEM. I mean, all these names. They had nice pops today. A lot of them hit the 100-day or some moving average and backed off. We'll see if they continue. Again, it's just, I think you're 20-day for Newmont. I think you're just playing with Chop Fest. I know some people talking about buying dust. If you would have bought it today, I don't blame you. All right, that's interesting with PAAS. I think they had announced something, if I remember right. Again, I don't chart dust, but just looking at the price action based on the GDXJ, it's interesting down here. Decent volume, but again, it just more splits. Look at the GDX, right? It seems to be making lower highs, lower lows off the high since July, whatever. What's the date? July 18th. OPEX, imagine that. All right, Tech, Taiwan Semi, just nothing. Just a whole bunch of nothing. Chop, 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 chop. Again, I think these names will roll. Micron, some people talk about shorting, filling the gap. Makes sense to me. You got a 3-day range. I mean, do you want to make it any more difficult? I think you don't need to. I would use the 3-day range highs. Into the gap, I'd say 72. If you get over it, stop out. You want to short it, go all in. I don't give a shit. Just be careful, though. You do have AMD earnings, right? Coming up tomorrow after the close. Who knows? I mean, I think the top is in. It's just a matter of whether you retest or not. NVIDIA, man, price targets 500, 550, getting sloppy and tired up here. Watch the 20-day channel low. I would just keep it that simple. Intel, nice pop on its earnings. People got really pissed off at me, and I was like, this might be a double top in Doji. A lot of people, again, trolls troll. They're like, oh, you're an idiot. This is a profession. This is just starting the move. I'm like, and so if you wanted to short Micron, you were looking at semis like, this makes sense, right? This action, again, you have multi-day range, big ranges. Go with. If this is a failure, double top, SpaghettiOs. SMH, trying to break out, candles tightening up. I don't know. Adobe had a nice rip today. I'm trying to remember. I don't know why. I'll have to look that up, but saw that today. Interesting wick. Again, 10 minutes. Someone was definitely selling at the close. Someone definitely sold at the open. Gap up, trap up. Is that an arrow pointing down? We'll see. Apple. Again, probably going nowhere. If it does rise into earnings, be careful. Keep in mind, like this is 128 up to 196. It's kind of funny too, because you know how we talk about price targets rising as you go higher. Keep in mind, 107 to 480, and now they're putting up 500 and 550 price targets. How high are you? Amazon. Again, we talked about if you had profits before earnings, be careful. Now you're getting back into the box. If you're just holding through earnings and you're basically neutral now, please hedge. If you're short, if you're long, good luck. No clue how they're going to play out. CRM, again, remember, financial accounting. Who knows? CRM chopping. We talked about how the CEO is selling 100 million shares, $100 million worth of stock. Okay. Guggenheim, love shorting up here. Getting tight, getting choppy. But if the market's holding up, I mean, you do have this gap here at 134. You've gotten up to there. That's what we've been watching. The next line. Sorry, I didn't have this up here earlier. I don't know why that. Let's get physical. Physical. That's the gap. I mean, at this point, if you're short it, love it. I absolutely am. It's just, again, I mean, it's like we talk about layering in, having your stops. If you layered in at 131 and you're just chopping around here, that's the nature of the beast. You just don't know. You just don't know. But you define your risk. You're willing to do what? Let it play out. Meta, talked about this bull crap rally. Look at this 3-day range. Watch the highs, 325, great short. Put a stop. Microsoft rallied, hit the 20-day, backed off, going nowhere. NDAQ, going nowhere. Snoozer, we talked about the exchange. These guys are toast. No one's going to be trading tech in the next bull market. They're going to be trading commodities, industrials, banks, stuff that does well with high interest rates. MicroStrategy seems to be holding up, but just keep in mind, like, I know a lot of people are going to draw a flag. I would just watch 450s. We've talked about it. If it hits it, I think it's a short with a tight stop. Netflix, are you surprised it's doing a little bounce? We talked about the 50-day. Some people said, I think Curran said head and shoulders. I mean, I could see that. A complex head and shoulders complex. A complex head and shoulder. No. Some sort of test of the 450s might be a nice, easy short with a tight stop. Roblox, like tech ready to break out. Hits the 200-day. Dead cat bouncing. Tesla. Oh, Tesla. Everyone loves it. It's toast, in my opinion. But if you get a pop, short that shit. X material names this week. Chopping around. I mean, again, all these stimuluses in China, how much they'll work out, we'll see. Newcourt chopping. Again, I don't know if you'd short these just out of the blue, but pick your spots. You can see them. And you see ranges. Caterpillar, yes. Rising into earnings. We like this. This might set up a nice trap for shorting, in my opinion. Again, if you are short going into it, ten cuidado. Just be careful. VALE, global growth name, pop, flop, 200-day. We'll see. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Arrow, this name's holding up. Can't argue with it. Today's volume, a little suspect. Did they have earnings or something? I don't know. We'll keep in mind. I mean, this is a breakout. Again, this is a smaller company. This thing could just go bonkers. CCJ, give uranium folks credit. Look at that. Just be careful. Is that a professional or a novice gap? Again, I'm not shorting these things. I don't recommend shorting them. I'd like to buy them at lower prices. That's all I've said. Shorting, if you want, go right ahead. Just tighten your stops up. CF, a lot of these ag names, we love them. Loved them down here. Talked about capitulation on all these names. And now you're coming into moving averages and spots that you might want to take profits. Same thing. NCF and Mosaic, NTR, Nutrium. This one's a little higher, but I'm not surprised. Look at the box. Look at the box. Could it get the 200? That would be probably the max upside. AA. Got to be chopping around. I mean, a lot of these global growth names look like snoozers. XLF, again, credit Curran. Some of the folks in the Discord room talking about getting up into 35s, getting sloppy up here. Had another bank failure. Everything's fine. Everything's great. KRE. Closing, chopping around. Again, talked about this level being important here. If you go zoom out on the monthly, it's literally the IPO prices from 2006. This level near 50. Keep an eye on this because you have also massive volume and candles up here that are showing what people are stuck in that, right? Potentially. JP Morgan. People talked about shorting up here. You've got a multi-day range now. Could today have been a trap? Keep an eye on this stuff. Morgan Stanley, this thing has been an absolute turd. Awesome if you shorted the 95s like we talked about. Now that's down a couple days, I mean, if the market holds up, don't be surprised if it bounces. If it doesn't bounce, even better. Goldman Sachs, same thing, watching the mid 360s. Yes, XBI, as we talked about, people are like, oh, it's all over the place. Yep. Good bounce here, chopping around. I wouldn't overthink it. Good old solar. If you shorted the pops, congratulations. Watch. Remember, these could hold up until oil and gas start rolling. Look at these levels, though. Know your levels. ENPH. Talked about it gapping down and then rallying back a couple days. I mean, will it fill the gap? I don't know, but all these names are toast, in my opinion. Sedge, talked about it again. Shorted up here, shorted up here. Seeing names a little wide and loose, and now you drop down pretty quickly. Oversold rally, oversold yeah, rally. Don't be surprised by it. First Solar, nice gap up and multi-day ranging in between. Again, if you got near the high, sometimes you just got to be patient. Talk about HYG, just watching it, chopping here. Got to get over the 75s for the market to get a little more comfortable. Let's end it with the oil and gas names because you hit some upside targets on some of the oil and gas names. Now, oil again, USO, just watching it. Nothing really special. UNG, sad. I can't even see that thing. XOP, I don't even know why I look at it anymore, those names. XOP, we talked about getting up into the 143 range, filling the gap. There you are with a gap. Gap to fill a gap. Keep an eye on that. ExxonMobil rallied back today after flat action on Friday with earnings. A lot of confluence up here. I doubt you're going to get over the 108, 109, 110 area. I'd look for to short that with tight stops. Occidental talked about hitting the 200-day Buffett, selling cover calls, just chopping around. Remember, XOP doesn't look that bad. See, PXD, I'm surprised it wasn't up more today. The oil and gas name, because look at this. It's like a gap up and like pitiful little doji. Keep an eye on that, right? EQT, I thought this would follow through more if oil and gas are stronger. It's kind of just chopping around. I mean, could you get up into the 44 range? That would be the next spot. Let's end it with Flex LNG because we love this name long term on the dividend yield buying. The idea that we will be exporting tons of natural gas. So please reach out if you have any questions. I appreciate all the love and support. A few of you guys know I'm actually going to be, again, I don't mind being totally disclosing this. I'll be moving out of my current residence to give my beautiful wife some separation time, working on things. Things are going well. Sometimes you do what you got to do. If you're, again, I've joined some men's groups, some other things to help understand how, again, because I like the ownership. And if you're not the type who likes extreme ownership, whether it's in trading, your life, your marriage, I want to be the best version of myself. That's the goal. And so doing this and moving out, buying out all the properties, doing what I need to do to get her comfortable and essentially comfortable with being on her own. And I know this is hard to talk about. Some people are like, oh, why you divulge this? I'm like, if I'm not around completely, it's because I'm literally trying to move my life a mile away, essentially. But it's good. Healing process, stress, taking things off. You guys can hear it in my voice. I'm fine. It's just, again, in these circumstances, again, I don't need to get into much in the details. Separation, time apart, space is what you need. And if things work out, they work out great. If they don't, they don't. I'm not too concerned in the sense of my well-being because, again, absolute ownership. Whether it comes to trading, whether it comes to your marriage, I'm telling you got to think like that. Because, again, in the end, you don't want your life to determine on your environment. You want to be able to own your results. Now, sometimes bad things happen, right? That's just the nature of life. But staying sad, staying stuck, staying in bad places, staying in a bad trade, whatever you want to call it, staying in a bad marriage, staying in a bad relationship, staying in a bad job, whatever. That's a choice, y'all. So, all right, here to help any way possible. Again, I really love the marriage mastery stuff that I've been working on. I think it's helped me become a better version of a husband, which, again, being the guy that I am, and maybe there's a lot of you guys and gals out there too. You work hard. Maybe you're overworked at times. You don't have the ability to connect with your spouse because of the kids, your job. Life is too short to kind of isolate yourself and not try to think about sometimes owning where you're at. So hit me up if you got any questions. Love you guys. And again, real estate stuff, please hit me up if you have any questions because that market is just as tricky as the stock market. All right, talk to you later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.